Alright, to start off, we're going to use the Beretta M9, Speer Gold Dot, 124 grain, plus B. Let's see what it does. Alright, we've got some nice reaction there with our water jugs. Not super scientific, but gives us a baseline. 1,237 feet per second. Comes out to about 421 foot-pounds of energy. Pretty good for a 9mm. Great penetration there. Definitely deployable as a self-defense cartridge, which obviously that's what this was designed for. So made it through first two jugs and got into our third layer of water and stopped just before it got to the cardboard. Perfect expansion, classic gold dot in the center. Could not ask for a more perfect example. Acceptable penetration and complete expansion. It's pretty much perfect. Great baseline. Next up, we've got 45 Colt out of the Ruger VAQUERO, running a Winchester Super X cowboy load, 255 grain. Heavy and slow. Let's see what it does. Well, we got good reaction out of the water there. Definitely not as violent as the previous gold dot was out of the 9mm. But it's not really intended to expand. Forgot to get a picture of the chronograph, but we did get around 835 feet per second, which comes out to around 394 foot-pounds of energy. So good energy, decent velocity for that heavy of a bullet and a classic cowboy load, but definitely not giving all it can in the front end of its terminal performance. A lot of penetration there. Pretty deep in. No deformation really to speak of. If you absolutely wanted to, you probably could load it right back in a case and fire it. But really don't do that if you do catch one. Went through around 10 or 11 sheets of ram board when I really counted it up, and that's some heavy stock cardboard that was wetted by rain. So pretty dense, pretty good at slowing down bullets. Extensive penetration and acceptable performance, but low energy dump. Next up is 40 Smith & Wesson, 155 grain. This is a Hornady XTP hand load of my own creation, running Winchester Autocomp for the powder. Pretty hot, gives great velocities out of a 4.25-inch barrel, but here out of the 16-inch, we are definitely smoking really, really hard. Absolutely massive explosion downrange on that water. Looks pretty good. Let's see what happened. 1,432 feet per second. That is over 700 foot-pounds of energy. And taking a look at our targets here, we've got a little bit of a skim on the left-hand side of that bottle. May not have hit perfectly center, but we definitely got a really great reaction. Got all the way to the back of the water jugs here. Let's see what we got. Something bouncing around. And there is a jacket, completely peeled over like crazy. Now the core continued on, but obviously that's not something we really want to see. Now XTPs are generally rated up to 1,500 feet per second. In my experience, the smaller projectiles have not really held up to that. I thought I found the core. This turns out it was just an older bullet. I did eventually find the core, but the separation was not good, but the energy dump was awesome. Definitely capable of defense and capable of catastrophic wound cavities for hunting and defensive purposes. So really not a bad load, and getting that much energy out of a 40 Smith & Wesson akin to a 10mm is pretty impressive. So we'll move on to 357 Magnum next. So we're running an American Eagle load, loaded by Federal, of course. 158 grain, jacketed soft point, pretty classic load. Let's see how this factory option does. Pretty good. There's only so much you can do with a water jug before it starts looking the same between energy levels, but definitely the biggest splash we've gotten so far. Maybe almost equal with the 40 Smith & Wesson splash. Man, they're pretty close, at least. Got some great penetration there all the way through. Dead center hit, digging, trying to find it. Where'd it go? Man, it's dug itself in there. And where? Nor any critters that are crawling around that mashed up cardboard. And there it is, way in the pack. Held together too. Now that is some serious penetration. I would have to say overall you have excellent penetration capabilities. Maybe a little bit too much at close range, but overall great energy, great penetration. But once again, if you're not dumping that energy in that shorter distance to stay within the vitals, it probably won't work out as perfect as you think it should. Energy transfer is a big thing too, especially when you come down to pistol cartridges. Compared to rifle cartridges, they just can't hold a candle as far as what they can do with damage from pure energy dump. But rifle cartridges can suffer from the same thing. A full metal jacket, if it doesn't destabilize and deform, won't do anything. Same thing with a handgun cartridge. If the soft point doesn't deform, if it doesn't stop within a certain distance, it won't do what it needs to do. So, that being said, this looks like a great option for deer, bear, and any other heavy-skinned or heavy-boned animals. But as far as a defensive load for a two-legged varmint, I would say a lighter 125 grain bonded hollow point would most likely be the best choice for your 357 or 38. All right, let's move on to 460 Rowland, the whole point of this video. Okay, so we're going to run a 230 grain Speer Gold Dot hand load. This is using CFE pistol, and it produces fairly good results out of this handgun. Nice energy dump here. Not quite a centered shot, in fact, kind of low and left. I tend to do that with this pistol for some reason. It's not the gun, it's me. But yeah, really good velocity, 1233. This usually averages out to around 1225, but not too far off the 800 foot-pounds of energy there. I'm at 776. So we're taking a nice look here. Didn't really get as square of a shot as I would have liked, but it's still giving us a baseline of what this bullet is going to do. Kind of looks like the bullet stayed fairly true as far as its track. We'll dig it out here in a minute. It's pretty good devastation there, but we've definitely got some bullet failure, some fragmentation here and there. Not particularly what you're looking for when you're trying to observe what a defensive load is going to do or a hunting load, but at the same time, that very large chunk right there, good weight retention on that, so it's definitely got penetrative capability, and all those fragments will split off and be fairly devastating in their own right. So we did suffer bullet failure. Here's another hollow point that I shot. It's fairly consistent. The gold dot is not intended to be pushed this fast, at least in this bore diameter. It is a bonded bullet. The jacket tries to stay on, but it does end up tearing apart. But it's fairly popular now to use things like rip ammo, so I think it's a fairly good option. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I hope this baseline comparison between these calibers and to the 460 Rowland is giving you an idea of what it's capable of, and some more insight into what we're going to be looking at as we continue with this project. I've got several loads I've been testing, 250 grain XTP and 452 diameter, this gold dot, which we will review this load. I will eventually be getting some Underwood ammunition. I've got 185 grain Hydroshock, which is just an absolute varmint round. It detonates, and it's pretty crazy. 200 grain XTP, which looks funky, but is turning into quite the powerhouse and might quickly become my new favorite. So lots of things going on with this cartridge, with this 1911 here in my project as far as finding what works best. But we obviously didn't see optimal results with it, but I'm pretty happy with it. And this 230 grain gold dot load has been the most reliable and has also been the most consistent performing out of all of my hand loads so far for the 460 Rowland. So it's actually my daily carry load when I'm carrying the 1911 if I'm not carrying the Beretta M9. So that gives you a little bit of insight into what I think about the cartridge. If I'm good enough to carry it, I think it would definitely do well enough to take medium and small game with, even up to large game. But I would say that large game such as Black Bear would definitely require a bit more sturdy bullet like the Hornady XTP, or maybe something more along the lines of a Nosler 230 to 250 grain or 60 grain option. As always, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments, like or dislike. And if you want to stay tuned into American Arms channel and you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell if you want to stay up to date on everything that I'm doing here at American Arms channel. As always, God bless. Keep your powder dry. I'll see you in the next video.